Hello and welcome to my fourth and final video in the series for this summer's virtual music camp. Today's video is a little bit different. I'm simply going to be talking to you about various pieces of equipment that you need. You probably already have some of this, but if you ever think about upgrading, it can be very useful. So, to get right to it, the things I'm going to be talking about today are reeds, mouthpieces, the ligature, which is the bit on the mouthpiece that holds the reed in place, the actual clarinet itself, and a couple other little things. Basically, you need a music stand. It's really not a good idea to practice an instrument without a proper music stand, because then you will develop bad habits on how you hold your instrument, the way you sit or stand when you play. So basically, get a music stand. They're not expensive. The other simple things are a metronome, which you should be able to get for free on your phone. I think I already talked about that. A tuner, it's not a bad idea. I didn't really talk about tuners, but you can check to see that things are in tune. And I get this one. This is a good little tuner. I don't know if you can see that. Oh, it looks really washed out from here. Anyway, you can find good instrument tuners for free online. I'll go through some of these items, the reeds, mouthpiece, ligature, and clarinet. Those are sort of the big pieces of equipment that you really need to play an instrument. Right now you're obviously already playing on a reed, a mouthpiece, a ligature, and a clarinet. But whether you own that or not, I don't know. If your school owns one, what kind of condition it's in. You might think about upgrading, and I'm going to give you a little bit of information about pricing. There should be a sheet that gets sent out along with the video that you can access and use for reference. It's very easy these days to go online to music stores. There's a very good one in Fredericton, Long and McQuaid, that carries a good inventory, and if they don't have anything in Fredericton, they can easily have it sent from their head office in, I believe it's in Toronto. So let's start with the easiest piece of equipment, the smallest piece, the cheapest piece, and that's the reed. Okay. And if you look at the sheet, the cheapest reed, probably the one that you're getting from school right now, is called Rico. It's not a very good reed. It's the most affordable reed you can get, I think, these days. But they don't do a very good job. And if you upgrade a little bit, you will get a much better result. And I strongly recommend for everybody that you consider upgrading. And the one I use is Van Doren reed. There's now an original brand. It comes in a blue box. It costs about $34 for 10 reeds. It's quite a big jump from the Rico reeds. They're about $20 for 10 reeds, so about $2 per reed. The Van Doren's about $3.50 almost per reed, but well worth the extra money. It will make a huge difference to your sound. And also, they do last longer if looked after properly. And Van Doren also makes better reeds than that too. That cost even more money. I wouldn't bother unless you've been playing for years and years and years, and you're already playing on a Van Doren reed. I wouldn't go from Rico to the high-end Van Doren reeds. And again, they're on, well, all it says is special reeds on the sheet, costing almost $4.50 per reed, $45 for a box. Um, so again, if you're playing on what your school gives you right now, consider the Van Doren reeds as a much better alternative. Also with reeds, um, it's good to have some kind of reed holder. reed case. Don't just use the little plastic thing that the reeds come in. Here's a fancy reed case. It's very hard for me to show you this because the reeds just fell out. But if you go and buy a reed holder, you can get one at Long and McQuaid probably for $20, and it really is worth keeping your reeds more carefully. It'll hold them really, really flat and safe, and will also help with humidity control a little bit, and you can sort of read the instructions that come with them for that. Moving up to the next part of the puzzle is the mouthpiece and the ligature. Okay, and the mouthpiece that comes with your clarinet is usually not good at all. You can buy a replacement for about $20, and they are not good. Again, if you upgrade, again, the type I usually get for students is as well Van Doren, and I promise I do not work for the Van Doren company. But Van Doren makes a very, very good student mouthpiece for about $120 to $150. They have many, many different kinds of mouthpiece now, and what I suggest is that you go to a store, if at all possible, and play as many as you can. Obviously, they make sure that they're sterilized, but double check with them that the mouthpiece has been sterilized if someone else has played it before you. And most stores have a little room that you can go in and test things out like that. And I would play a bunch and just get the one that's the easiest to play for you and the one that you like the sound best. Try playing as low as you can on the instrument all the way up to as high as you can on the instrument. And then also try tonguing. That's very, very important. Tongue a scale using a new mouthpiece, and if it tongues easily, it's a good mouthpiece. If it plays easily with your reed, it's a good mouthpiece. The next thing on the equation is the ligature. And again, this is something that a lot of young students don't really think about. They think, okay, it's just the thing that holds the reed on, but it does make a difference. And the one I use, it doesn't matter. It is a Bonade. It's called a Bonade reverse ligature. The important thing is what it's called a reverse ligature. So the screws go on the back of the mouthpiece. They are a much better quality ligature than the ones, and I've mentioned this before in these videos, the ones where the screws go on the front don't do as good a job at holding the reed properly against the mouthpiece. And you might not necessarily think about this so much, but that makes a big difference to the sound. Okay. A ligature, if you get the silver version of this, is about $40. There are many, many companies that make reverse ligatures. And again, go to the store and try some that you're comfortable paying that amount of money for. You can easily spend more than $100 on a ligature. I think, again, this is going back a long time, but when I bought this ligature, which is gold plate, cost me about $70 or $80. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is $100, $120 right now. But the regular nickel plate version is about $40, which does a very, very good job for someone who's been playing for a couple of years. Finally, buying your own clarinet, which if you are thinking of playing for a few years, it's worth the investment. You can buy a plastic clarinet, which I really only suggest for beginners. You shouldn't be playing on a plastic clarinet for more than a couple of years. So if you've been playing for a little bit and you want to buy an instrument, I strongly, strongly recommend, if you can at all afford it, to go to what I call, or what anyone calls, an intermediate wooden clarinet. So it's like the next step up from the plastic model. And they do cost between $1,500 and $2,000. It's not a cheap hobby. But if you can afford it, again, it makes a nice difference. Be careful. There are some things you need to consider. They do take some fairly careful looking after, because wood can crack, and you don't want that to happen. So follow the manufacturer's instructions quite carefully if you decide to go wooden. A big thing is I really recommend buying secondhand if you can. Most stores will sell secondhand instruments, or you can find someone who's selling one privately in the province. Um, and you can save hundreds of dollars. The nice thing about buying a wooden instrument is if you do end up stopping playing or upgrading to a professional model, you can sell them. It's not difficult to sell instruments, and you can make back, if you look after it, you can make back most of the money that you spent. So it ends up not costing you a lot, and you can probably play on you could play on an intermediate instrument forever. Um, if you end up, playing through high school, maybe going to university, you can play in a university band, even if you're not a music student. Play in a community band, and you can be perfectly happy playing on that intermediate instrument for decades. But if you do end up keep playing and want to get a better instrument than that, then you can sell that instrument and put that money towards a professional model. So I think that's about it. Again, use the sheet. It basically has written down what I've been talking about on the video. Um, and good luck with it all. And I hope to see lots of people next summer live at the music camp at UMB.